Me, 28 male, with my wife 27 female, duration 9 years, she cheated on me when I was out of town. Background: 9 years have passed since we first met. He and her started dating before college and have been together ever since. After graduation, I returned to my hometown to assist her in continuing her studies. It was at the end of her last semester that she decided to stop her relationship with me since she was being chased by another guy. When she came a second time, she begged for forgiveness and promised that nothing had occurred. 6 months later, we were able to move into an apartment together. We got married a little over a year after that. We were able to purchase a house last year, less than a year after getting married, thanks to money I got after my grandmother's death. She lost her job 4 months ago, and as far as I am aware, has not been able to locate another. After graduation and for the duration of her unemployment, I was the primary earner. I was lucky to have a job that allowed me to pay for the bulk of our expenses, including her student bills and a new car. Current: I was out of state on a business project a couple of Thursdays ago, so I couldn't answer any questions. I wasn't meant to be back until the following Thursday, according to the schedule. On Wednesday, I received word that I may be able to go early. Although I phoned my wife and informed her that I would be returning home shortly, it was clear that she wasn't herself and didn't seem to be thrilled with the news. She said she hadn't gotten enough sleep the night before. When I got at her house, she seemed to be exhausted. We relaxed for a few hours before retiring to our own beds, where she requested or announced that she won with me. After being away for more than a week, I was in a giving mood and decided to do oral before having. Her kisses were all sour tasting, and she didn't seem to be interested in what was going on. When I got to work the following day, nothing out of the usual had occurred to me. She arrived home after me and promptly jumped in the shower after coming from a gym class with me. She doesn't smoke, so when I inquired as to why she had cigarettes in her purse, she looked to be attempting to avoid a conversation on a subject she was trying to avoid. She acknowledged to me that she was unsatisfied with her job and that she had been for a long period of time. In her words, we all desire different things, and she believed that. She said that she had not missed me at all while I was away. The whole time, I stayed relatively silent and outraged, unable to convey my sentiments of betrayal and treachery. She ended up crying as she left, and I immediately erupted into tears myself. I got in touch with several of my friends and ended up bicycling for a few hours to their house. When I returned home about 11:30 p.m., I was enraged and outraged, and I immediately started searching the house out of suspicion. She'd completely forgotten about the rings that were on her dresser. I sat down in front of her computer and started to go through it. There, I uncovered a record of about 80% of what she and the guy she slept with had spoken over the previous 5 days, which had been preserved in Facebook discussions. She said that everything was well while she was at work, but that her time away from work was the worst experience of her life. She was frustrated that she wasn't getting to do the things she wanted to do, and she felt confined and angry with herself for having taken the choices that had brought her to this point. There were also other emails in which she pressed for their meeting to take place. On Wednesday evening, she had spent the whole of the evening emailing the guy, and she had even invited him to my place for dinner. The messaging continued until the wee hours of the morning. When she drove to his house at 3 a.m., it was after 6 p.m. on Wednesday when she arrived home, which was 2 hours before I did. Once they'd had unprotected relations, they persisted on having the night before I went home. A time period of around 18 hours is involved. These messages also revealed that she had gone to his house after leaving her home on Thursday night, which I found interesting. I saved the whole Facebook conversation as a PDF file, which ended up being around 70 pages of messages exchanged over the course of 5 days, which I maintained in multiple places. She arrived back at her residence at 1 a.m. on Thursday night/Friday morning. I told her that I was aware of the situation. According to the transcript, she made an effort to reassure me that she had no intention of things transpiring as they did. It was only after a lengthy time of angry silence that she was forced to sleep in the guest bedroom. On Friday morning, I notified my family of the situation. I told her she should go because I was not interested in forgiving her. For a few days, she was absent from the house, but she has lately returned to the guest room. My parents told her family members, who are understandably upset. Despite all, her father and I are still on friendly, though peculiar, terms despite our differences. I have contacted a lawyer. I've also been tested for STDs and HIV. Results are still pending. I've shifted what money I can out of joint accounts and into my own. I've been preparing my belongings to live without her once the agreement is completed and she leaves. I'll have to wait a full year after the arrangement is completed before the divorce is official. I haven't spoken anything to her in the weeks after everything broke apart, but we're meeting in person today to talk about it. I'm sure I left something out, but that's the core of it. The only thing I don't know or have plans for is where I'm going from here. I know I'm still young, but I've never been one to go out and meet new people, and I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to dating as an adult. Edit. To be clear, she does not use birth control. We've been using condoms since we began dating, and one was used the night I returned, so the possibility of pregnancy ruse is small to none. Also, as several of you have pointed out, this was not her first time cheating. I discovered through the transcript that she had with another man from work 4 years ago, following the breakup and reconciliation, but before we moved in together. Story 2. My wife, 28/female, cheated on me, 31/male, with a diseased drug addict, and I want to start over. Please help. Hi. My wife and I have been together for 10 years, 4 of them as a married couple, and we have a 2-year-old kid. She recently moved out of the house to live with her parents for a period of time since she and I had been arguing. As a result of my financial and job stress, I was emotionally and verbally abusive to her, which she did not appreciate. Fully acknowledging my contribution to the rift and accepting full responsibility for it. She was gone for around 2 weeks. I persuaded her to go on a date with me after those 2 weeks, and I chatted with her and assured her that everything would be fine and that I would no longer be the stressed-out jerk that I had previously been. The divorce had served as a genuine wake-up call for me. So many aspects of my personality have improved as a result of this experience. So, a few days later, I am able to persuade her to come and spend the night with us. She walks over and we begin chatting, and I am flirtatious, and everything seems to be going well. After a few minutes of chatting in bed, she informs me that she has something important to tell me. She bursts into tears and confesses to me that she sucked off a male friend of hers while we were apart. So I thought to myself, well, I can forgive her if she describes it as this began and then I stopped and felt humiliated. And that was sufficient justification for me. Almost 2 weeks have passed since we reestablished our home together. The two of us began having again and attempting to make things work. I found out a few days ago that this dude was a drug addict who used intravenous drugs. When I tell my wife about it, she freaks out since it had never occurred to her to mention it before. I inquired as to the specifics of what had occurred. I discovered that he had entered her mouth, against her will, and during our talk, we discovered that he suffers from a number of major blood disorders. She was a mess, and I'm just kind of numb at this point because of it all. Evidently, it did not occur to her that there was any genuine risk since she placed her faith in him to reveal any health difficulties that he may have before their contact, which he did not. We are presently awaiting the results of her blood tests. I'm not sure why I'm publishing this on Reddit, but I am. It's most likely because I can't really tell anybody about it. If I tell to my friends about it, they will all despise her and the plan will fail. I'm anxious to do things right, to remain together, and to start again from the beginning. I want my kid to grow up in a happy family with his parents at his side. This is my anonymous plea for assistance and guidance. Have any of you ever been cheated on, just to have everything work out in the long run? Is there anything you can say to assist me get through this? Thank you very much for your help.